I'm going to deal with a subject this evening that will help us all. There is a great challenge among the children of God, and that is to help the souls of men who have decided by their own heart to challenge God on the words, how language is presented, how things are taught. And they began to make a play, both saint and sinner, to cause confusion when you're trying to learn something. But we're going to understand you cannot rise up and teach God on spiritual or physical things. Those are two areas that men try to challenge God on. But you cannot rise up and teach God on spiritual or physical things. We see in the book of Isaiah that Isaiah begins to deal, and what our brother read for us, directed to our text in this particular message. He is going to explain to us the power of the great God of heaven. So therefore, individuals who decide that in their mind and in their heart, somehow they will outthink or outdo God, they are in for a vicious battle, whereby they will surely fail. But they will come and attack you, the saint, the believer, and cause you to wonder if you know what you're talking about. Isaiah 40:8 says, "The grass withereth, the flower fadeth away." Doesn't say it might happen, it is. But the word of our God shall stand forever. So the grass will not stand, neither will the flower. O Zion, that bringeth good tidings, get thee up into the high mountain, O Jerusalem, that bringeth good tidings. Lift up thy voice with strength. Lift it up. Be not afraid. Say unto the cities of Judah, behold your God. These are the places known, the metaphor of Zion, the actual city of Jerusalem of teaching truth. Bring forth good news. So Isaiah encouraged, okay, you need to not be afraid, because they're going to challenge you. Tell them about God. Behold, the Lord will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his work before him. He shall feed his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm, and carry them in his bosom. He shall gently lead those that are with young. This is for the saints. This is the thought. This is not what is done to those that are not saints. And when an individual wants to say that now, there is no such thing as the people of God. He has no flock. He's a shepherd without a flock. The great God of heaven that knows that every shepherd knows his flock. He says in John, sheep know me and I know mine. Because real sheep know their shepherd, and the shepherd knows his sheep. So now, through a play of words, where all the people of the earth are the flock of God. See, that's a play on words. Now what we're going to do is show you cannot rise up against God and challenge him by playing with his words. He created language. No man can create a language. I want to take a few minutes to explain. I believe this lesson will be extremely beneficial to you. It was to me, and this will be my second dose of it. One of the things you have to understand is that you've heard the term possibly pidgin language. A pidgin language is not created. It takes other language and misappropriates the word. It will use a lot for slaves to get them to understand your language, though they be of another country. They would take certain words. It's sort of like, if y'all are familiar with Star Wars, the movie, it's like Yoda's speech. I put the "the" at the end. I put the other word over here. I just take your words and make them, because I don't have time to teach you. You just learn that, you grab the wrong thing. No, I say that, so you just go, boss, gone away 1 week, maybe 2, China, and that's it. That's as much as he knows. That's his pigeon language. Okay, it's just your language with words misplaced. You can't create a language. You cannot manufacture it because God gave it. And all he did is split the dialects up and shot them out over the earth. But not over everywhere. I don't know about it. See, it's a lie. No one came to America. I'm sorry to tell you, no. They didn't go that far. Of all the earth, the inhabited earth, how do we know that? Because there are many areas that were not yet inhabited. All the boundaries, according to the book of Acts, are determined by God, not man. His heart reaches a point, and he goes, this is as far as I want to go. This is far enough. Because God lets a fear in him. I'm not going no farther than this. He needs to be accessible to the teachers of the doctrine. Even Christ traveled by foot and animal. Even Christ. So you got to be in a range. You got to be near enough to be reached because everybody had to hear. You can't rise up today with some knowledge and some exploratory skills and challenge that. The earth is not 1,000,000 years old and it'll never be 1,000,000 years old as of now, this day. Now, if it lasts 1,000,000, it will be. Because God, when he said the terminate, the first day, the evening morning was the first day, that's the first day and it's a 24-hour period. And it's traceable all the way to the day. And it's not even close to 1,000,000 years. Now, you can believe the scientists, but you're simply in opposition to God. And at the judgment, he'll tell you, you didn't even believe me in physical things. We're going to read about a guy that didn't believe God in the physical creation he made and told him how it worked. He still didn't believe him. See, man is a God, and God called him a God. But he said when you die, according to the book of Psalms, you're going to die like men died. You're going to die, and you're going to be placed in torture because you don't want to be like the God that created you. And see, he lives forever. To live with God is to live. To live and exist in hell is to die. You're never going to sleep. Your body does. Some bodies don't even exist anymore. They're torched. They're burnt to ashes. So how is that sleeping? And scattered? That's what it means. Your body is at a permanent rest and will never live again. Your spirit never goes to bed. Never. And it will feel all the components of hell and all the components of heaven. And so we need to understand, you're not allowed to play with the language. When an individual looks at the languages of the Bible, Greek, Hebrew, Chaldean, Latin, Aramaic, when he looks up the meaning, when you're Latino and you're using a Spanish Bible, or you speak Spanish, your answer is in Spanish, not English. From Greek to Spanish. I look at my English and I get from Greek to English. If you're Manchurian Chinese, you get Greek to Manchurian Chinese. You don't go tell the Manchurian Chinese speaker that he don't know what his word means in his own dictionary. See, that's the voice of a ludicrous fool. See, language has no bearing. We'll never be able to talk, but we can send a rocket to the moon, or you can send a rocket in the air and make it land just short of LA and pop and blow up. Then no, I can reach it from one, but we can't understand what study means. Salvation and baptism. See, that's called a liar. See, because you didn't make language. It's understandable. It's just not believable. So I say that to help us understand is that this flock that the Lord speaks of, this is and always will be the saved. Look at Luke 12 and 13. Now we're going to show every creation is a flock. But there are two shepherds. There's Satan and there's Christ. So Satan is not a part, nor is his sheep a part of the flock of God. Because there must be a transformation from a goat to a sheep to be saved. The Lord used goats to make sacrifice and sheep. But when Christ speaks of salvation in Matthew, he says goats, which are lost to the left, sheep, which are saved to the right. Showing I'm not a goat shepherd, I'm a sheep shepherd. I can take the goat, cause them those horns, causing from being belligerent and attacking, and make him humble when you're born again. See, if you play with those words, we know. One thing, you're not saved. Two, you're not even wise to our human language, the language of the man-faced creature, because he knows what words mean. See, it was just the groups that were trying to build the tower that began to not be able to understand that, so they could get nervous. And right now we're talking. If I just start speaking another language, and Brother Paul was turning to Sister Paul, and he's speaking Spanish, but she only speaks the Nigerian dialect, somebody finna get up out here and run. Because we like, man, something else. I'm talking in my language. You don't know, we're going to scatter. Because fear hits. Don't know what to do. I'm going to run across somebody that's talking my language. Just like if you say, oh, thank God you're speaking language. And we're going to be a community. God knew how to say, because they wanted to be something more than what God made them. They said, we're going to make an image that we like and a name we want. Something different than you want for us. And God says, no, you're not going to do that, because I made you and you're still under my control. Because for me to save you, you got to do what I say. That's what the Lord is saying. So Luke 12:32, fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Now, if he was talking to the world, he wouldn't have said that to his disciples. He would have said it to the world. When he looked at Jerusalem, he did not say, oh, Rome, Rome, how many times I want to pull you under my wing. He said, oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem. He says, how many times I want to bring you under my wings, to bring you to me as a chicken brings a bruise, but you would not. Behold, your house is left desolate. He didn't say Rome. He didn't say Egypt, Jerusalem. So now if Jerusalem is Egypt, then Egypt is not Egypt. You see, now that is ludicrous mentality in this world. See, God is a God of balance. This world is perfect. Believe me, it may look wild, it is perfectly balanced. There's enough evil getting thrashed to keep it balanced. There's enough right lifted up. There's enough good nations ruling. There's enough bad nations, and it is perfectly balanced. And the Lord has it right before him. He lifts one up, takes one down. Everything going on. He hears the cry of those being abused. He hears the cry of those being misused. He hears the cry of those who want to do right. He sees all. He is not alarmed about anything like we are, who fall from steadfastness to fear. And so therefore, we're not going to rouse up and tell him what the word means. We're just not going to do it. Etymology of a word develops, like gay in the Bible means something bright, colorful, to society today, and added meaning homosexuality. When you look in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, and you see the words, whatever words mentioned, in the New Testament, James talks about gay clothing. He is not talking about homosexuality. So when you look up gay in your dictionary, whether it's Webster, online, whoever, you're going to have to look for the meanings that go past 21st century to where it says, okay, this is what it means. It'll tell you where it came from. Some words come from Latin. You have to understand, different languages become the lingua franca, the common language, and other languages take over that language, and it grows, and then this becomes what everybody else is speaking in business. You better learn if you want to eat, so you learn that. So when you look at etymology, you cannot develop the word doctor to physician, which it was not before, and then discredit what it meant when God let them write. See, that's why you and I get in trouble with the Lord. Because we go around calling someone doctor in theology, and he said back then, that's an official title. Do not do that. That's what he meant. So you can say, well, people use doctor. Yeah, in school, yeah. Theology, off limits. The big X goes up. Because he says, you're nothing but a brother to each other. And that's it. Do we have to do it? Do what you want. At the judgment, it'll be too late to change back. And that'll be it. Because he invented words. Adam and Eve had no school to go to. They had no one to tell them how to rock a baby to sleep other than God. They spoke well when Eve met Adam. When he said, this is about my bone, flesh of my flesh. She didn't go, what is this fool talking about? Because we're grown. Language built in. By who? God. So we're going to rise up and tell him what a word means today. And go to heaven? Not so. Not happening. So let's go back over to, now we got a good comprehension of who's the flock. Because everybody doesn't have the same flock. Verse 12. He says, who had measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and meted out heaven with the span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance. He says, who does this? The earth is so minute and minuscule to God. I said, I can measure all the water in my hand. I can put the dust together with my fingers. It's such a little place to me. It's nothing. He says, who had directed the Spirit of the Lord, Isaiah 40 and 13, or being his counselor, taught him. So, actually said, who taught God? So, God doesn't understand the plight of women? Foolishness. God doesn't understand why the homosexual is mad at him? Foolishness. God understands the heart of a child? Foolishness. God understands everything. And he discredited us by bringing Jesus here and say, I can put him in any age I want and he will come out smelling like roses, showing all of you of this earth are condemned because he is flesh and bone and he still walked upright. All we have to do is do what the Lord said, because that's all he did. So therefore, when we look at this, we need to understand who taught the Lord. So who taught him how to make language? Who taught him how to put the sky together? Who taught him how to make the clouds flow? Who taught him how to make the winds blow? Who taught him? So how are we going to rise up and tell him anything? Who taught God how to put the Bible together? Who taught God how to protect it throughout the generations? Who taught God? Do you know Israel? It is a pure miracle for Israel to go through 4 separate all-planet ruling nations, which you will never have and you don't have today. America don't rule nothing but its mouth. And I don't care how big they are, they rule their mouth and their mouth only. Because if this was wrong, it would have went and took over Russia and anywhere else it wanted to go. If you know history, you know it did. 4 major worldwide ruling kingdoms that killed and slayed at will, Rome being the most fierce. And nobody could get rid of this book that was causing all the trouble. And you think we worried about a few egghead geeks that are going to come and try and reword Bibles and write NIVs and leave parts out? You're nothing but small dust under someone's foot. Because if a nation that could take your life and no one could rescue you couldn't get rid of a Bible, your chances are 0 of getting it from out of our hand. Because the saints always had it, not the world. And no matter how many of them you killed, there was always a Bible. Plenty of them that thought about everybody and have a Bible. Ask yourself a question. Who don't have a Bible now that want one? So it was different back then, says who? False doctrine teachers. You can't take a Bible from nobody. It's so little you can put it anywhere. See, those are the lies you've been taught, showing that God doesn't have control. God has always been in control. Romans 13, he says, there's no government that exists that I am not over, including the crazy man that killed all the people, and then finally he's slain. There's been many of them, Idi Amin. You just start naming them. God says, okay, that government, I'm still over it. I allow this to happen. And I want to see who's going to say something crazy about me for allowing it. And I'm going to kill them too. As a judge. I'm going to see who's going to understand. Don't let it trouble your heart, because I'm over it. It's going to only go so far. So you're going to rise up against God and challenge him. So it's got to be somebody that taught him and he blew it. Or there's no one that taught him. And we need to stand down and be quiet. Because you and I just got here. And that was a generation before us, and there'll be one after. And they're going to have the same troubles you and I deal with, accepting this as his word. And he doesn't care how old it is and how long it's been. We need to stand down and do what it says. So he says in verse 14, with whom took he counsel? Who counseled with him? Who did he ask, hey, how should I do this? And who instructed him and taught him in the path of judgment? How did he learn how to judge? Who taught God to judge? He is a being. He's just not brought forth. Now Christ is brought forth, but God is the subject. Who taught him? See, because God's son, I definitely tell you, my father taught me. God don't have no back getter. Nobody taught God. That's why he's talking about God. So he says clearly, taught him in knowledge. Who? Me? You? No. And showed him the way of understanding. How do you understand? How does God understand? Okay, if you get a divorce, I made you so. I know your body is in bad shape. I know your emotions are up and down. But you got to get yourself together before I can give you someone else. So someone rises up and says, oh, you can't never have nobody else. So then you must be God, and he's not. See, this is the walk of a fool, and there's no other word. Because he wants to be God, and he doesn't want to let God be God. Just got here, but he going to tell the Ancient of Days what's going on. Not in this lifetime. He says clearly, as Isaiah writes of the great I am, behold, the nations are... Now he said, this is what I think about the nations. This is what God says, this is what I think about the nations. As a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. You know when you measure something and you balance it, nobody care about the small dust. You know that, right? You weigh wheat, take wheat off. Nobody care about the dust. It's dust. Nobody care about that. That's nothing. He said that's what we are, all together. Behold, he taken up the isles of every other. He said, I could take up the islands like it was. How many islands it is? It's like, I grabbed them like that. Islands, nothing. We can't even see them. From an airplane, you can only see so many. He says, and Lebanon is not sufficient to burn. Lebanon is known as the cedars of Lebanon. He said, if you took all the trees of Lebanon in their prime and burnt them up, that would be nothing to me. If you honor them, and he said, that's not enough to honor me. God is saying, I'm too great. You can't burn nothing to me. You couldn't do nothing for me. You cannot, if I destroy, it wouldn't be nothing to me, God says. He says, nor the beasts that are sufficient for a burnt offering. If you took all the animals out, he said, it wouldn't be nothing to me. If you burn every one of them. Man, Solomon burned hundreds of animals. Good gesture. Appreciate it. But that's not it. My son is the only thing I'm about to give to help us. To help y'all on this earth. All nations before him are as nothing. Y'all, now I want us to understand something for a minute. He's not putting down humanity. He's saying, you're nothing to me. So, how can nothing tell something anything? Listen to him again. How can nothing tell something anything? Let's get this one more time. How can nothing tell something anything about your marriage, about your childhood, about your job, about your love for the saints, about your work ethic, about your community, about your entertainment? You can't tell something anything because we're nothing. That's what this is about. So don't try to tell God. Let's listen and then we'll see what he has to say. He says here clearly, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. He says, as I tally, I see. If I take a inventory, you're nothing. And you're empty. That's bad. So why does he love us? Because he's God. Nothing to do with you and me. Because he is God. And he loved us first. Saints and friends, that's something that should keep you walking toward the Most High God all the days of your life. To recognize it is nothing to get rid of us. It is no flip turning for him in heaven to put us in hell. Because there wasn't nothing going in there anyway. Because he is God all by himself. But man is allowed to disrespect him, to speak ill of him with a little mouth and say great things against him. And then at the judgment, that same little mouth is begging, calling him Father, my God, rescue. And he says, I don't even know you. See, when I was reaching for you, you wouldn't come to me, so I don't want to hear it now. We do that today with people. We do that with people all the time. When people have hit that last nerve, they be like, man, I don't see how you walked away from them. They were dragging your leg. Yeah, I know. I'm glad I got away because I'm tired of tearing my pants up. I'm trying to walk away. Because it means nothing now, because when I wanted it to mean something, it meant nothing. You know? So God has greater strength than us. So we don't want to get to that level. So he says, to whom would you liken God? Or what likes when you compare? So you don't compare a person like this too. The workman melted a graven image, and goldsmith spread it over with gold and cast it silver. You know how precious gold is and silver? Man, this stuff is precious today. He that is so impoverished that he had no oblation chooses a tree that will not rot. God, this guy is totally broke. As man, let's cut down a tree. Make sure it's one that won't rot. He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved. He's so spiritually inept. Have you not known? Have you not heard? Had it not been told you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundation of the earth? He's telling this guy today, at the time I said the earth has been in existence for hundreds of years. He tells him, you didn't know about this? It is he that sitteth upon a circle of the earth, and the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent dwelling. When the Lord made this stretch, he stretched. It's so little of him. All the Milky Ways that you'll die and never see, the scientists won't even reach. He says he stretches out like it was a curtain, like you do a curtain in your house. Nice. That looks nice. Put these stars up. I know all the stars. I name all the stars. You can't even count them. I say, I know all of them. Now you can't count them all with your greatest of magnificent magnification. He says, I name every one of them. I know where every one of them at, and I got a name for every. I know if it blew out. I know if it's still there. He says, it's nothing to me. And we're going to tell him he don't know what a word means, right? Wrong. He says, that bringeth the princes to nothing. God brings rulers to nothing. He maketh the judge of the earth as vanity. There were so many rulers before the children of Israel even went into Egypt. They had guys. Og. This guy was awesome in the world. Everybody knew this boy. He ruled. He got whooped like it wasn't nothing. It whooped so far back, nobody even know until I call out the name. You got to go look him up. God told David, I made you great like the great kings of the earth. And this how you thank me? You going to take somebody's wife and you going to kill them? After I made you what you are? See, David got way out of line. God said, man, David went through a lot. I forgave him everything except Uriah's wife. I ate his lunch about that. He'll do the same thing to you and to I. You can only step on God's toes so many times, then he will light us up. You keep playing, disrespecting him. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to worship you like I want. I'm going to do what I want. And then you reach that last nerve, and then everybody else runs once he grabs you. Because we know he got you now. Woe to you, because that's it. And this is the thing that you and I must understand. You cannot rise up against this great creator and challenge him on anything he's written. And so he says here, he maketh the judge of the earth as vanity. He says, yea, they shall not be planted. Yea, they shall not be sown. Neither the earth stock shall not take root in the earth, their stock. He shall also blow upon them, and they shall wither, and the whirlwind shall take them away as stubble. To whom then will you liken me? God says as himself. Shall I be equal, saith the Holy One. He says, who are you going to compare me to? Lift up your eyes on high and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their hosts by number. He calleth them all by the names of the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. Why sayest thou, O Jacob? Now this to the saints. And speakest, O Israel, my way is hid from the law, and my judgment is passed over from my God. He said, I know what you done. See the things we do, things we whisper in our heart, things we say to people in the dark. Because I know what you're saying. See, he's telling us now, I know what you said on this day. I know what you meant in your heart. I'm going to meet you on the appointed day, and you will not be able to stand. That's what he's saying. I know you can't. He says, I've done all this, so what make you think I don't know what you're thinking? Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainted not? He don't never get tired. And go, ooh, they people driving crazy. I'm going to take me a break. Jesus, watch over everything from him. He never get tired. Neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. See, so how could you possibly study language so that you can discredit the words of God? You can't search his knowledge. That's what this statement means, audience. You cannot search. You cannot gather the understanding of language enough to figure out how God even put words together, pitch and diction, how your vocal cords speak out. None of us can figure out how Helen Keller could possibly ever talk and write who cannot hear or see or speak. Because there's a God that says, now I'm fixing to give one that can't do nothing. And I'm going to show you physically I can do anything with nothing, let alone spirit. But we're going to rise up and say, you can't, like, and I'm saying, why are you so excited? Because we get a lot of people that really give Brother Fritz a rough time. He does a lot of question answering. He's a minister over there. And we just got this one saint that is a vomit to the kingdom, that constantly rises up and says things with just lengthy paragraphs about we can't use Strong's. Strong's is nothing but a dictionary. So we're not going to use Webster either. And where he lives at, if anybody beat him down, we're going to say, well, hurt don't mean hurt. That's a metaphor. And let him stand his blood. When he goes to the police, say, well, you know, what is wrong? We'll do like Pilate. What is right? You going to hear him, he'll put a bullet in you. So, see, he'll be crying. Now he's going to cry, oh God. See, because you don't have the authority to discredit even a scribe who Paul says has no place in the kingdom. But he is an accurate rewrite of the word. That's how Bibles will continue to be printed. See, that's why the scribe began to be respected. Because say, no, nobody know the Bible like him because he keeps writing all day long. I got another copy. And yeah, you got to buy it. It's not giving nothing free. Write another copy. Somebody got to buy every Bible that's given to you free. Let's remember that. Somebody buying it. Write another copy. But he said he got no place in the kingdom. He has no place in the kingdom. Paul says, where's the scribe? He has no respect in the church. Just like quick copy. That's all he is. See, they gave him honor. God didn't even honor him then, because the law said, woe unto you scribes, Pharisees, you hypocrites. Because you know the word, but you don't live it. So, what does he say here in verse 29? He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increases strength. Have you ever seen a 75-year-old plus grandmother on a cane raising your baby because you couldn't handle your business? I mean to the world, not this audience. Now, when you had your baby, she bad made to the house. Somehow, God got her walking on a cane still, taking you to school, taking baby steps, making sure you do your homework, pointing with the cane, make sure you finish that. She lives, she breathes, and if she don't make it to your graduation, somebody else takes over. How come she just didn't drop it? You young, I can't handle these children, you about to fall out. But grandma 75, cooking bacon with leaning on the cane, just turn it over. Come on, baby, eat your breakfast, time to go to school. Watching you get on the school bus, waving at you with the cane. But you got two strong, two good legs. You can't even get out of bed. Running around all night partying. How's that possible? Because I give strength to the weak. Strengthen them up. You thought grandma was finna die, she ended up going to your funeral. That's all right, baby. We're going to take care of it at your funeral, because you wouldn't listen. There we go. Even the youth shall faint, be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. But now he can't possibly keep the meaning of a word right? He's too stupid for that. How foolish can a human being be? Nevertheless, we got a few more thoughts we'll pull up. We understand you cannot rise up and teach God on spiritual or physical things. Cannot do either of the sort. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 2. Look at the spiritual. Now it's really fixing to get wild now. Because when Paul writes this, it's mind-blowing time for everybody. This stuff is like another language. 1 Corinthians 2 and 1. And our brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech, of wisdom, declaring to you the testimony of God. For I determined not to know anything among you, save Jesus Christ and Him crucified. Paul didn't lean upon his powers as a Jew. I put the rabbi thing in the garbage can, he told the Philippians, because it was nothing but trash. Because that whole realm of religion is over. And I was with you in weakness and in fear and in much and power. I was just like y'all. If it got cold, it's chilly. I'm just a man like you. Verse 4. And my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. A lot of times saints will start to quote things about science, medicine, and you go, you must have lost your mind if you think this is going to somehow validate what God has said or discredit it. How insane. That's what Isaiah writes. Have you not heard? Did you not know? From the beginning of the world, Mom and Dad, Adam and Eve, from the beginning they said, it's not but one God. I better do what He said. We've seen His hand. Said from the beginning. There's never been a secret. There's nobody that don't know God. They may not want to accept Him. Nobody has a blank knowledge of God. Romans 1 and 1 says, He reveals it from within them. What you're coming and telling me is, man, you better do what God say. If you ever want to get an atheist, just talk to them nice. Say, you're mad at God, something happened. You don't have to tell me. They're not going to say nothing. You gave him a pass card of embarrassment. Say, but whatever you're holding against him, He's going to bring it up at the judgment. He can rescue you. He can lift you up. He can make you greater than you are. But if you stay in this state, it will be bad at the judgment for you. You don't have to say a word. Look, I'm going to go. They'll say, oh, okay, man, take it easy. He know. He's just glad you didn't embarrass him to answer. He know. See, because God has told you in Romans 1, you can't sit inside. He already know who I am because I made him to know. See, you can't prove an invisible God. If you point to a tree till tomorrow, you think that tree going to open his mouth and say, God made me? That tree don't tell you nothing. It is the created beings, we, who can comprehend and exchange in language to each other that the God of heaven is coming back, just like He said. And all that He said He would do, He would do. We cannot prove that there's a God to any human being on the earth. That's why God says, I have to reveal it inside of him. It's in his spirit. He knows me. Just remind him, I'm going to do to him what I said I'm going to do. If he does or she doesn't obey. So that's what it's about. That's why people, well, you never prove it. Look at the sky. Who made that? You can't prove it's God. How do we know that? Hebrews 11 says, by faith we believe he framed the worlds. He didn't say by sight. He didn't say you can look at a tree or a rock. He said by faith we believe he framed the world. There we go. So now if the writer of Hebrews said you can't prove it, it's by your faith. What are we trying to do proving it other than by the words of God? You can't. So therefore, that's the text that validates. So we look at some more of this great information from 1 Corinthians chapter 2. He says, why did he come and not use man's wisdom? He said that your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. Howbeit, verse 6, we speak wisdom among them that are perfect. So he says wisdom is given to those who are complete. So you cannot give the spiritual wisdom to the incomplete. The only portion he can grab or she can grab is a portion that says that you're not there yet. See, Cornelius can only grab you're not there yet. You need to be saved. Then he's baptized. Then he can understand. He says, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. See, all the wisdom and understanding of the world has come to nothing. Because it's going to be destroyed. Nobody's going to be up in heaven talking about calculus. You forget about that wish. Remember we talking about building no slanted building? It's not going to be a discussion like that. It's going to come to nothing. But we speak the wisdom of God in the mystery, even a hidden wisdom. See, the wisdom of God, even the things that are hidden, Paul says, we talk about it all the time. See, there are certain levels of education where an individual will talk only so much. And then there's a deeper level we're going to. those who are really getting into whatever they're building, whatever they're teaching, whatever they're trying to construct. And Paul says, with Christianity, we talk about the deep stuff with the saints. It's like talking about the sky, because it's what we do. It's who we are. It's given to us. That's why I said, fear not, little flock. It's the Father's desire. He wants you to have little flock, 120. You're going to get the kingdom. Don't worry about it. And you're going to rule with an iron, a rod iron. And they tore up all the nations. Rome, Greece, Medo-Persia, Nebuchadnezzar. Why? All your kings are dead. All your gods are nothing. And all your power is gone. But we rule the earth. And our king is Christ. And he rules the earth. See, a lot of times nations don't understand. Our king rules all y'all kings. He's the Lord of all your lords. He is the God of all the gods. They have to bow to him. And that's our king, our God, our Lord. So you don't just get to rise up and say, he's my king. No. See, when we sing that song, he's my king, you got to be a saint. Because he is our king. This is different. See, here's a big discussion. One of the things we're talking about tonight. If the word saint means everybody, then everybody is a saint. Now that's foolish. Then God lied. He didn't have a nation that went into Egypt because Egypt was already his nation. See, now we're talking God is a liar. So saint means separated. Separated from what? From the world. They were right there among everybody else, eating the same foods. See, the Jews and their dietary laws begin when they get to their land. They're eating whatever. So it's just among people. Abraham ate whatever, people among people. But we got to understand something. Separated means separated from the world, your mind. You're saints. And he makes that separation. When they go into Egypt, he has a separated nation. He says, this one's mine. It says, among all those people, I've never been with anybody but you. And that either makes God a pimp and a liar, or he's righteous saying, you my only wife. See, one of the things Brother Javier teaching me that we were discussing is, one of the things we need to remind people when you ask them a question and make a statement, and they pick a word, so baptism saves, and you ask them, now when I read it, are you going to believe it? Are you going to do it? Are you going to accept it? Then when you read it, and it says it saves, most time people go, Like Brother Fritz said, no, you can't let that go. You got to go, nah, the Bible says they answer them not a word. What's your answer? So you don't get that. You don't get that kind of pass card. See, because you never develop. You just go, no, you don't get that pass card. You got to go, I don't know. I don't believe something. Because see, you got to hear you saying where you stand with God. You don't get that type of pass card. No matter what saint let you get away with that. That's a poor lesson that time. You have to. You don't have anything to answer, so you're not going to answer a word. See, because you have to understand in the discussion, only one is the teacher, and that's the one that's right. Even if it's two saints. When Moses comes down, he challenges Aaron. Aaron, what made these people? What did they do to make you do this? Aaron's lame answer. They gave me the earrings, and out came this calf. Nothing else to say to you. You lost your mind. Doesn't even address what I asked. That's what made you do this. See, because Aaron, I don't have no answer, man. I lost it. The pressure. They pressured me. And I disrespected God like a lot of us do. Aaron struggled. He's still a priest. Struggled all his days. And guess who didn't get to the promised land? Aaron. Never could just get it just right. I'm not saying he went to hell. I'm saying didn't make it to the promised land. Guess what our promised land is? Not Israel. Heaven. The metaphor is if we do like Aaron and Moses, we're not getting in heaven. See, now there's your metaphor. Because we know Moses is there. We see him in Matthew 17 talking with Elijah to Jesus. And they would discuss, Jesus was telling them about his death. Mark lets us know. We need to understand that, brethren. You got to stick with Christ. Don't let these people cause you to misstep. And he went left. You ever been following somebody? And you say, that red car's not my friend. You don't know what lane your friend. Back in the day, we didn't have cell phones. You would just park at a gas station and hope they called back up to, they put them on the side. Bump, bump. Brother went down, yeah, man, I went there. Lost 30 minutes waiting on you. Cell phones are blessed. Not back then, wasn't no cell phone. Turn around, we just parked the gas. Man, I hope they come back and look. Oh, they ain't come. Because you weren't paying attention. We got to pay attention to the Lord. And listen to what he says. Not man, not me, the Lord. So he says here clearly, none of the princes of the world knew about this. He said this information is so powerful. He says, we speak this, which God ordained before the world's our glory. How are you going to come up and challenge God on something he ordained before he made the world? He made the world before he made us. Which none of the princes of the world knew, for had they known, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. If Pilate had a brain working on a spiritual level, he would know, y'all just going to have to kill me, tell Caesar, well, I'm not killing the Lord of hosts. But he was a fool. So he used Roman law, technicality. I'm going to wash my hands, man. And you see his name in bright lights in Acts. And Pilate. Who killed Jesus? Pilate, the people, and the Jews. I thought he washed his hand. In God's court, when you come up there, you kill my son. Wash your hand all day. That wasn't my law. That was your Roman nonsense law. So he says, but as written, I have not seen nor ear heard, have entered into the heart of man the things which God had prepared for them that love. Nobody knows about it. Watch this. Nobody knows. But God have revealed them unto us. Now watch this. If us is everybody, listen to me good, audience. If us is everybody, then who doesn't know? If us doesn't mean the righteous, then who don't know? This is a wasted, foolish letter because everybody already know this. So there is a righteous and there is a lost. And at this time, it's not the Jews, it's not the Egyptians, the Christians and everybody else, including the Jews, are lost. Paul would still be with the Jews if it wasn't true. This is extremely powerful. I hope you're gathering it in. So he says, but God revealed them to us by His Spirit. For the Spirit searches all things. Yeah, these things God. You know how hard it is to just get a surface bubble knowledge of God after He's broken it down in baby steps? Can you imagine getting the deep things of God? If the Holy Spirit is like giving candy to a baby, He gives it to the saints freely. See, that's why we know when a person says, women can preach. See, well, we know, okay. First thing we know, you're not a saint. That's all right, though. We're going to work with you. We know because no saint will say that. That's like a rocket science saying the moon is made of Swiss cheese. So we know, okay, well, he's not a rocket science. He isn't even intelligent physically. So we're going to watch him. See, we already know. See, because the saints already know. See, the little flock, we come from the little flock. And you don't get what the little flock got until you become a part of the little flock. So, no saint gonna get mad. No matter what you say, one of the blasphemies, the little mouth Daniel talking about saying great things against the Most High God in heaven. God is listening. I don't mean nothing. It's like somebody telling you, your name isn't Billy, your name is Tommy. How mad would you get? Hey, Tommy told me. And everybody would come in and say, why does he call you Tommy? Because he has a special problem. You would be called. Why don't you get mad? He has a special problem. I don't know what's wrong with it. Well, how did he get a job? I don't know. Something's wrong with him. Something's wrong with the people that hired him, too. But my name is Billy. That's it. Why don't you get mad? My name is Billy. You wouldn't, because you think God get one? He knows at the judgment, I'm going to get you. Right now, you can talk all day. You're going to see my anger of losses when you come before me. Think in your mind and you're not. God don't like being called by a different name. He said to Jeremiah, they're trying to make my children forgive me, Jeremiah, and forgive my name for Baal. So that's a problem. Say something to Buddha, say, well, Buddha is like God. No. See, friend, Buddha was a dude that died. So you're not switching names with us. No, you're a liar. And that's much we got to say. And that's it. We through talking. See, we know the name. Somebody going to try to tell you your dad's name. You've been calling your dad that name. He answered that name. You've been calling him. He's a liar. I'm not going to tell you that ain't your dad. But your dad, it don't matter what you think his name is. He used to answer to this name. So that's it. Well, how angry would you get? Like, I'm talking to a foolish person. May God have mercy on him. And walk away. That's why people don't understand. Christians don't get excited. We hear what T.D. Jakes say. We hear what Osteen says. We get sad about the souls that are fallen. Getting mad at him, that's a big person. Mad at him about what? You don't even know God. God would never have a child talking crazy like that. It doesn't bother us. We continue to preach the gospel faithfully as Jeremiah was told. Said, let the dreamer tell his dream. You teach my word faithfully. He would warn every prophet. Don't be like them now. Don't get scared and start doing what they do. He said, because I will tear you apart. He would tell them. Because you know, man, you keep preaching these guys, keep seeing these guys doing crazy things. They got gold and silver. You start getting a little shaky. He said, don't be like Gehazi, Elisha's servant. They ran out to the back door and said, we'll take some of the stuff. As soon as he came back in, Elisha said, Gehazi, isn't it a season for us to be buying and selling stuff and getting good? You know, you're going to be a leper, you and your family forever. They come in there try to sneak in some stuff from Naaman. Say, we don't want nothing from Naaman. It'll mess up the image. We don't want nothing from Naaman the Syrian. We want to heal him and let him go back. But you touched his stuff, so we're going to let you be a leper. And God instantaneously dropped the leper bomb based on the cursing of Elisha right on Gehazi and his family. Why? Because the Lord is in agreement. See, we don't understand the system of being in agreement with God. And you've got to understand it. And I've got to understand. He says as we wrap this up, for what man knoweth these deep things of a man? What man knoweth of a man? How can I tell you anything about you? Your thoughts, what your feelings are. Because until you open your mouth, I don't know. Sometimes people have gas and they burp and they look funny. They're not mad, they're looking funny. They say, I don't know what's in your heart. But he says, save the spirit of a man which is in him. Now, if you can't figure out what's in the heart of a man till he open his mouth, he says, even so the things of God knoweth no man but the Spirit of God. Now, we have not received the Spirit of the world, but the Spirit which is of God, that we might know the things that are freely given to us of God, which things we also speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but which is the Holy Ghost teaches. See, we can't possibly use man's teaching to get this. He says it compares spiritual things with spiritual things. One of the things that the lost world does so blatantly and they'll make something spiritual that's not spiritual. And they'll make something physical that is spiritual. And we know right out the back, hey, yeah, this person really doesn't know. There's a show out, I may still be out, it might not have run that long, but back in my day when I was a youngster, I caught the black and white version, the end of it, to tell the truth. There'll be some guys on there that would know so much about the subject. The panel thought, it's got to be him. This other guy didn't know. Well, the other guy forgot some stuff. He didn't know all that deep stuff. And they said, stand up, one guy, stand up, they laughed, oh, it was you? And they go, well, I asked you. Yeah, I said, well, I just don't know that answer. But I'm the one that do the business. This guy is like, I've studied it, but he's not the job man. He's not the one to know it. That's what it's like listening to a false teacher. The saints, we know. We were on the panel, had a bunch of false teachers standing. They said, that's the guy that's wrong. No saint would say that. We already know we win every time. Oh, we win the money. Give it to the church. We win every time. We already know saints don't teach like that. Saints don't talk like that. He come out there and he says, if we want to tell the true panel, and they said, okay, which is the saint? And they said, this guy, he says, how do you worship God? I play the trumpet for the Lord my God. I play the trumpet in the club, and now I play it for Jesus every Sunday. We know, but that's one that's not the saint. Let's see what the other one going to say. Well, I'm a woman. I preach the gospel of Jesus Christ because the men just went. That's two, so it's the other guy. We win every time. We got it. Yay! Every time. Because we know out of this mouth, the Lord says, comes what's in your heart. We be the tell the truth champion. They say Craig has been on that 30 years and never lost. Because he knows what saints say. That's how the little flock is protected. He says, if it were not for that built-in protection, he would fool the very elect. He would have got Peter. He'd had Peter preaching false doctrine. We've got a built-in mechanism. Your heart can't say what's not in it consistently. You can lie. And he'll come back and ask you a little later about it, and then you'll tell the truth. Because it won't sustain. It's like trying to hold the weight. It's too heavy for you. Truth is too heavy. You've got to accept it in the heart, and it's as light as a feather. That's why Jesus said, bring your burdens to me. He say, and I'll give you something real light to carry. What he gave us light to carry? Faith, love, hope. So I give you those. They're like feathers. So you carry them all your life. No matter how your problems get heavy, just pick up faith, hope, and love. Say, you got it. And love. When faith and hope are gone, it says love. Hold on to love. too light. You can't drop it. But the other stuff, it'll weigh you and break your spine. Finally, he says, which things, he says, but the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness unto him. Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Well, why does the Lord leave him like that? Because the Lord says, okay, now once he gets frustrated, she gets frustrated, go, I just can't figure this out. And you go, give your hand to Christ. Let us baptize you. And you'll see everything clear. There's no magic in the water. The water doesn't cleanse you. Peter is clear. But if you believe, when you go in, your spirit, your eyes open. What did Paul have removed? Scales drop. Okay. And he could see. Okay. And he still froze. And Ananias said, what are you waiting on? Get up or wash away your sins. Call on the name of the Lord. I had a guy try to argue about the word calling. So you got to understand something, friend. The first statement is wash away. There is no and. That's how you call. See, this poor soul doesn't understand common lingua franca English that he was born and raised speaking. He still don't understand. See, without the conjunction and, there is no other thing to do. That is the calling. See, that's how English works. It flows. That is the calling to be baptized. I've responded right. That's sad. But this guy's very intelligent. But if you gave him a job teaching English and making it a spiritual application, he'd get an F. Because he understand without the conjunction now, you can't make it two different things. That's sad. He's born and raised speaking English and doesn't know that. That's like a Latino not knowing what trabajo means. Isn't that sad? You be like, what type of Latino? You don't know what trabajo means? What? That's the mockery. But because he rejects God, what did the Lord say in 1 Corinthians 3? I'm going to take him, I'm going to wrap him up in his foolishness. He says he knows language, but without a conjunction, the thing flows together. He didn't know that, so he looks foolish. Among the English-speaking language experts, they would say, there's no conjunction there, friend. You can't make those two different things. He'd get mad at them. And then he would say, it's spiritual. See, you can't do that. So he says, but he that is spiritual, and this is it, judge it all things. See, the spiritual man, he has to judge everything. He has to judge, should we get on dope? Should we get drunk? Should we be gay? Should we rob? He has to judge, you know. And then when he sins, he's told, okay, then you're heir. Then he, forgive me, Lord. Have mercy, give me strength to change. And so he says he judges everything, yet he himself, he is judged. No man, see, a man can't come and judge him because he works for God. So therefore, if you tell him, he would say, okay, I'm wrong, and he would change. You say, well, see, you can't tell him. He would say, no, I can still judge you because I have changed. So you can't tell him anything. That's what he's saying. Because he is of God. He walks, Paul said he was blameless in the law. Some people say you couldn't live the law. Paul said, I am blameless in the law. That doesn't mean sinless, blameless. If he sinned, he would bring the right offering. If the saint sinned, he asked for forgiveness. You can't judge him. You can't say, well, you're not a Christian. You sin not. I say, because no man serveth the Lord and sinneth not. That's in the Old Testament. But he doesn't stay in the sin. That's why Ezekiel is told, go get him and line him back up with me. Finally, for who hath known the mind of the Lord, that he may instruct him? But we have the mind of Christ. We looked at the physical, we looked at the spiritual. If you read John chapter 3, you'll find Nicodemus does not believe that wind goes where it wants to. It has a pattern it follows of its own. And you can't see it, but you can hear it. He told Nicodemus, don't marvel. Don't let this bog you down with trying to figure out. He says, the Spirit does the same thing. He tells him, accept it. How can these things be? He said, if I've told you, he said, first he checks him, you're a master of Israel and you don't know this? He said, if I told you of earthly things, well, they talk about the wind. So the creator of the wind that knows how to stop it doesn't know what he's talking about. You see Nicodemus' foolish mind? That's why I didn't get baptized by John. And then he turns around and tells him a spiritual thing. So don't try to figure it out, just accept it. He says, how will you understand if you won't take the physical? He says, we teach that which we know and have seen, and you receive not our witness. Nicodemus is a classic unbeliever. Don't get excited because he's an undertaker bearing Jesus. I know a whole bunch of undertakers that'll go drink wine and run women all that night when they do dropping your loved one in the grave. Brother Gibson know even more. Because you bear a man don't mean you holy. So all the saved now must be undertakers. Not ridiculous. See, this is why things get ridiculous. This is a in-your-face blasphemy to God. But Proverbs is clear. No knowledge, no wisdom, no understanding can go against God. No knowledge, no wisdom, no understanding, even of the saint, can go against God. He is God. And if you rise up and challenge him and think he's going to save you because you want to be saved, you shall in no wise enter. Nor shall you sustain your salvation as a saint. It will be taken. If you believe that, it's opportunity now to be baptized. The opportunity is yours. The coals are ready. Everything is ready for you. Are you ready? At some point, you've got to say, I've heard enough and I want to be saved. In Acts 19, 1 through 5, there are 12 people. It's a very good chance that these 12 left the worship of the god Diana, because Ephesus would not give up its God. God said no nation gives up its God. And it has heard the doctrine of Christ and has accepted John's baptism. And now a third idea pops in. Here comes Paul with his goody two-shoe Christian thoughts of being baptized again. And they receive his witness and they are baptized again. That's how you have an Ephesian letter. Without that, there is no beginning of the Ephesian church. He stayed with them 2 years. And when he leaves, they have elders, which is another miracle among some of our brethren who don't want it. And this is the power of the kingdom. It works. So this same Paul explains clearly the Holy Spirit does the work, not man. So he writes in 1 Corinthians 15, 1 through 4, for by this thought Jesus died, buried, on the third day he rose. It's beautiful to believe that, but you're still not in. He says, if you hold fast to that, your Christianity will remain after baptism. So Jesus says in Mark 16:16, he that believes what? That, and is baptized shall be saved. Well, then why aren't the people saved in Acts 19? Because the teacher doesn't belong to the Lord, and the Holy Ghost doesn't work with darkness. You can't just repeat several words and say Jesus died, buried on the third day, rose again. Do you believe that? And dip somebody in water. See, you're not authorized. You don't have any keys to the kingdom. You can't let nobody in. The Lord, who is the door, does not allow you to unlock, because he knows then I'd have to work with darkness, which does not happen. Who said that? 2 Corinthians chapter 6. If a person goes in that and reads those scriptures and finds out light and dark, when you see light and dark come together as one in the world, which is a physical impossibility, then the saints can work with the lost. See, until you see the physical, when you see a male, born a male, have a baby, okay, then a woman can baptize and save. See, until the physical changes, the spiritual in no wise will change. Do we see figs among thistles? When you start finding a tree and you kept it in a cage and it grew and it was thorns and figs popped out and you're a witness and everybody watched it. Okay, now we can have light and dark together. You got to make the physical change before you can look, because the physical comes first. Adam and then Christ. Adam and then Moses and then Jesus. That's how it always is. If you believe that and understand it, then embrace and accept in your heart. The Lord says, if you're not baptized, then what happens? Then there's a problem with him. He says, believe and is baptized shall be saved. Believes not shall be damned. Why would he say believes not and is not baptized? Who would get baptized that does not believe? The system of belief requires that I believe in the baptism. So why would I reject the belief and accept the baptism? It would be wasted effort. So therefore, when Peter preached in Acts 2:37, they asked him. Now remember, these Jews are already baptized by John. You say, how do you know that? Because John baptized all of Judea. And all of Judea knows 3 times a year you have got to go to the temple. You had a whole bunch of people that from Jerusalem, Judea area, that had already been baptized by John. The Jews never practiced baptism of any kind until John comes forward and it describes it. And they are told on that day, what shall we do? Repent and be baptized. Can you imagine all again? Repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christ, for the remission of sin. They're not removed. And you receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. For the promise unto you and unto your children and all that are far, even as many as the Lord our God shall call. He said, baptized in the name, you come out looking like Christ. Now you can obey like Christ. You can repent. You can change. You can live the life. When you get weak, you can become strong. So it says, for the promises unto you and to your children, all that are far. You say, well, why doesn't the other tell the evangelists teach that? Because it's pretty obvious it's not with the Lord. Isn't that amazing? That's not a news flash, not to the saints. We already knew that. He says clearly, with many other words, he testified and encouraged them, save yourself from this untoward. He says the whole generation, this whole age is crooked. And it's gotten worse since then. Then they that gladly received his words were baptized, as they were saved. 3,000 souls. What are they going to end? The apostles' doctrine, breaking of bread, prayers, and the fellowship, which is critical for the saint to know. 1 John 1 through 10. You walk in the light as Christ is in the light. You don't walk like Steve. You walk in the light as Christ is in the light. And then you can have fellowship one with another. That's the formula. Acts 2:47 says, and the Lord added to the church daily, such should be saved. So now we can rise up and say, oh no, you're going to add me. Because even though I was a Catholic, they spring me with water. Yo, you add me. Yeah, you add me. So I'm going to tell the Lord that, right? The Lord, I can't even tell you to add me to your family. But I'm going to tell the Lord, oh yeah, you're going to add me. I know I'm in blood about the Lamb. I'm going to say that, right? The little mouth saying great things against the Most High God. And Daniel said he's not going to exist, but I'm going to exist. Nah, not in this lifetime, not in a dreamland will it work. Not in the dream that you want to be real. And so therefore, in Acts chapter 8, the eunuch is excited. If you come away from Ethiopia on a chariot in the sun, and you're reading the Bible, and you still can't understand, and this guy just walks up to you and tells you what it means, and you get to water, and you're not wondering why he's baptized, you see here's water, what did he hinder me? If you believe with all your heart, you may. Then he says, I believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. He has to have every interest. This is a proselyte that still don't know what to do. Philip knows what to do. Philip is a Christian. And without the teacher, you cannot be saved. Romans chapter 10. And so therefore he baptized them and rejoicing. Paul explains in 1 Corinthians 12:13, for by one Spirit are we all baptized into one body, whether Jew or Gentile, bond or free, and have all been made to drink into one Spirit. That doesn't even make sense to the natural man. To the spiritual man, it's perfectly clear. I have to take him in. Now, henceforth, the statement, 1 Peter 3:21, the like figure, we have to even baptism does also now save us. We don't worry about the thief on the cross. He's already gone when Peter says that now saves us. That is a futile argument. Now saves us. Not the putting away the filth of the flesh, but the answer of a good conscience toward God by the resurrection of Jesus Christ, who's gone into heaven. Angels, authorities, and powers subject unto him. Everything is under Christ. One enemy left, death. So you don't realize Satan's already been defeated. Hebrews says he lost. See, he lost. How is he able to get you? Because he's loose. He's looking for victims that don't want God no more. He lost. He had the power of death. He don't have it anymore. You're afraid to die when you don't obey the Lord. Satan has no power. He got whooped. He got his head crushed just as God promised Eve. And he bruised Jesus' heel. That's why Jesus had to give his life. But there's one more enemy left that's alive and well, dead. And see, if he gets you, it's over. If you're not ready. That's what you have to avoid. So Jesus gives us hope in Revelation 2:10. He says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, spiritual jail. You have tribulation 10 days, and he's not bringing it. Satan. He's going to use all 10. It's a metaphor. He's going to use his 10 shots to try to tell God, I told you they didn't believe you. He said, but be thou faithful unto death. This is to the saints only. The letter is to the Lord's church. It's to saints only. This isn't to the world, because the world has no faith to obey. They have to first obey. He says, but be thou faithful unto death, and you receive everlasting life. Can you imagine the devil put you in prison and you don't have a connection with God? You're dead. It's just a matter of when, not if. You have to come to the Lord. Let him save you. What could you lose in letting the Lord save you? Nothing. What could you gain? Everything. Him as your one true friend and everlasting life. You want to be baptized? Just stay standing when we're done. If you're here and you're a member of the church, you've gotten off track. You're in the same state you were when you died in the grave of baptism. It's time for you to come back to the Lord. You can't come back to the Lord and sneak in the back door. Remember the lady that touched his garment? So somebody touched me. Everybody back, somebody touched me. If you want to be healed, he said, you better identify yourself. She says, me, Lord. You can't just sneak back in the Lord's house in the back door. You need to let the saints know you're with him. And you're right again. Because if that lady had ran, she would have got nothing. She had to explain, I am bleeding, which no Jew wants to touch. And my blood can't stop. But when I touch your garment, it stopped. And he said, it's as you want because of your faith. If you want the Lord to fix you, come now together, we stand and sing Heaven's invitation.
Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals, he's waiting and watching for you and for me. Come home, come home. You are weary, come home.